Wonderland. Mavis. Mavis's mother blew smoke out of the kitchen window and complained, and that Mrs. Sims thinks the sun comes up just to hear her crow. Mavis took a bag of potato chips from the top of the refrigerator and flopped down onto the bed. "What does that mean?" she asked. Her mother tossed her cigarette into the kitchen sink. "Means she's uppity as all get out is what it means. You should have seen the look on her face when she was telling those bridge ladies about how her husband's the best this and the best that, and her daughter's the best this and the best that, and how she is the best this and the best that." She hopped off the kitchen counter and yanked the refrigerator door open. "I swear, every one of those women are like that. Snooty, snooty, snooty." She slammed the refrigerator door shut. "I just wish we can go out and eat once in a while. If I had a car, we could. Maybe I'll take the bus over to the used car lot this weekend, see what they've got. And maybe if Mrs. Queen of the World Tully would pay me more, I could afford to buy something." On and on and on she went, complaining, complaining, complaining. Mavis was used to her mother complaining. She complained about Mavis's dad, who never sent money when he was supposed to, and was a mama's boy. She complained about jealous boyfriends, nosy school teachers, and the high cost of cigarettes, and her flabby arms, and she complained about every job she'd ever had. But it seemed like this time the complaining had come sooner. They had only been in laundry a couple of weeks. Mavis took the bag of potato chips out onto the little porch at the top of the steps and sat down, looking up at the starry summer sky and thinking about Henry. She and Rose had gone back to the woods behind Amanda's house 3 more times, but hadn't seen him again. And Mavis decided that tomorrow they should ask Amanda if Henry was still coming to the fence for food. She knew Rose was scared that her mama would find out she'd been going back into those woods where she wasn't supposed to go. But dang it, Mavis was determined to carry out her plan of getting a dog for Mr. Duffy. When Mavis saw Rose walking towards the apartment steps, she got a sinking feeling. Why was she so dressed up? A sundress? She didn't look like somebody who was going into the woods to look for a dog. Where are you going?" Mavis asked. Rose looked up surprised. "To look for Henry with you." "But why are you dressed up?" Rose looked down at her dress. "I'm not." "You're going to go into the woods like that?" Rose blushed. Yeah, I guess." "Well, I have an idea." Rose didn't look very interested in hearing Mavis's idea, but Mavis went on. "Let's go and ask Amanda if Henry's still coming to get food by her fence," she said. "Then we'll at least know for sure he's still around." "Oh," Rose said. "Well, please." Rose hesitated for a minute, but finally said, "Okay." Then before Rose could change her mind, Mavis grabbed her hand and off they ran towards Amanda's house. Rose. Rose hated going to Amanda's house. Amanda always made her feel like a baby, especially when the other girls from Magnolia Estates were there. They always talked about things that Rose didn't care about, like soccer and lip gloss. Rose was also worried about getting her white sandals dirty. But here she was, running to Amanda's house with Mavis. When they got to the Sims' house, Mavis leapt right up onto the porch and rang the doorbell while Rose waited on the sidewalk. When Mrs. Sims opened the door, icy cold air floated through the screen door and mingled with the hot summer air on the porch. "Is Amanda here?" Mavis asked. Mrs. Sims' face had disapproval written all over it. Mrs. Sims disapproved of Mavis because Mrs. Sims disapproved of Miss Jetta. And Mrs. Sims disapproved of Miss Jetta because of all the things Rose's mother had been telling her. Just the other day, when Rose and Amanda had sat in silence in the Sims' kitchen table eating banana pudding, their mothers had been in the living room eating crab salad and talking about Miss Jetta. They had talked low, but Rose had heard them. Mostly it was Rose's mother talking, and she had no idea what aspic was. She put sheets on the bed without even ironing them. And I swear I saw her flirting with Munro Tucker, strutting up the driveway and flipping her hair. Can you imagine? Munro Tucker, the gardener. Mrs. Sims didn't say much. She only said things like, good heavens. Oh, seriously. Oh, good heavens again. Now with Mavis standing on the front porch, Mrs. Sims' eyes travelled from her dirty bare feet to her wild hair and raised one eyebrow in a perfect arch. Yes, she is. Would you like me to give her a message? We need to talk to her, Mavis said. Mrs. Sims let out a sigh. Just a minute, she said, closing the door. Mavis looked back at Rose and said, oh, brother. Rose licked her finger and wiped dirt off one of her white sandals. She wished she would go barefoot like Mavis, but Mrs. Sims would see and tell her mother, and her mother would remind her about ringworm. Mavis probably didn't care about if she got ringworm, but Rose sure would. After it felt like a long time, Amanda opened the front door. Oh, what do you want? She said, narrowing her eyes at Mavis. Is that dog still coming to your fence to get food? Mavis asked. His name is Henry, Amanda said. Then is Henry still coming to your fence to get food? Rose recognised the tone of voice coming from Mavis. Any minute now, she was liable to call Amanda a ding-dong. Then Amanda would get mad and would tell Rose's mother that she had come to their house wearing dirty sandals and Mavis had been barefoot and called Amanda names. Amanda stepped out of the porch and closed the door behind her. She was wearing a sparkly red headband and her cantaloupe-coloured hair hung perfectly straight down her back. She had once bragged to Rose that she hadn't cut her hair since 3rd grade. Don't talk so loud, Amanda said to Mavis. Why not? Because my mother told me not to feed Henry anymore, or else he'll keep hanging around, and my parents don't want dogs hanging around. Why not? Because stray dogs have ticks and fleas and mange and maybe even rabies. Amanda straightened her headband and added, but yes, Henry ate the cheese I put out there yesterday. Are you sure it was Henry and not a raccoon or something? I saw him from the porch, Amanda said. It was definitely a dog, and I'm pretty sure it was him. Great, Mavis said. Thanks. Then she hopped down off the steps and said, come on, Rose. And just like that, Mavis ran towards the woods behind Amanda's house, leaving Rose standing on the sidewalk. She is so rude, Amanda said, and disappeared inside her house. For a very brief minute, Rose considered going back home, but she didn't. She ran off after Mavis, trying her best not to get her sandals dirty.